Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my week number 5 wide receiver rankings for fantasy football in 2021. Inside today's video, we're going to be discussing my top 32 ranked wide receivers of the week, as well as going in depth into why I have them ranked at each and every single spot inside the top 32. But before we get on into things, I would like to ask, if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 fantasy football championship. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do hit that like button down below to help boost this video up the algorithm so that more beautiful people like yourself can see today's video. I'd also like to ask, if you guys are on Twitter and would like to follow me, to please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. The link to my Twitter is also down below in the video description. So without further ado, let's get into it. My number 1 wide receiver for week number 5 is Devonta Adams of the Green Bay Packers, going up against the Cincinnati Bengals this week in Cincinnati. Now, a lot of people are talking about how this could potentially be a blowout by the Green Bay Packers, but in my opinion, with the Green Bay Packers defense being a little bit banged up, the Cincinnati Bengals offense looking so solid, that could be a match made in heaven for a very high-scoring game, a back-and-forth affair. And if that is the case, and Joe Burrow is able to kind of go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers metaphorically, then this could be a game with a shit ton of points, which would lead to Devonta Adams catching a bunch of passes. Devonta Adams is clearly the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. They do have other wide receivers. They got Randall Cobb. They have MVS. They have all these other guys. But at the end of the day, in a majority of weeks, Devonta Adams has just a stranglehold over this offense in terms of target share. He's going to be dominant regardless of the opponent. This week, it is the Cincinnati Bengals defense, which I believe should be a breeze for Devonta Adams. If he was playing up against the LA Rams, I would tell you to start Devonta Adams. But this matchup is amazing, especially, like I said, if Joe Burrow and the Bengals are able to kind of hold up in this game and play with them and keep this game close, then they could be throwing a lot more, the Green Bay Packers, that is, and Devonta Adams could be seeing even more valuable targets. I like him here as my wide receiver number 1. At number 2, we have Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Buffalo Bills. Now, this is obviously a game that everyone and their mother, all the eyes in the world, are going to be on this game on Sunday Night Football. Tyreek Hill obviously is such a fucking freak. At any point in the game, this dude could catch an 80-yard pass, go all the way to the end zone, score that touchdown, and you go from having 0 points from Tyreek Hill to having like 15 points. That's how good the guy is. He is a game-breaking player. There are a couple of players in fantasy football that have that game-breaking upside. Guys like Tyler Lockett, guys like Tyreek Hill, guys like Christian McCaffrey, who could pop off and have that humongous game that truly wins you your week. And here up against the Buffalo Bills in what should be a very high-scoring back-and-forth affair, I expect Tyreek Hill to have a huge game. At number 3, we have the wide receiver on the other side of the ball, Buffalo Bills wide receiver Stefon Diggs, going up against the Kansas City Chiefs defense in Kansas City. Now, realistically, on paper, the Buffalo Bills defense is much better than the Kansas City Chiefs defense, but again, I do really believe this will be a high-scoring affair, regardless of how strong each defense is. And again, Tyreek Hill is such a menace, it is near impossible to fucking guard this guy, so it doesn't really matter who is on him, in my opinion. I think Tyreek Hill could have a huge game. Stefon Diggs as well. This should be a very high-scoring game, a back-and-forth, very pass-heavy game, which will lead to Stefon Diggs be seeing a ton of targets. And after a slow start to the beginning of the season for Stefon Diggs, he has really started to see things click as of recently, and I like him a ton this week as wide receiver 3. At number 4, we have DJ Moore, wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers, going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, before anyone asks in the comment section, because it happens in every video, oh, this guy's a fucking dumbass. Why doesn't he have Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp? Where are the Thursday night players? Where's DK Metcalf? Where's Tyler Lockett? I do not include them in these videos because they have already played, and there's no reason to harp over what already happened. So please don't get angry at me in the comment section, because I don't want to include the Thursday night players because they have already played. Obviously, Robert Woods had a great game. If you guys watched the live stream on Thursday night, I really talked up Robert Woods. He had that great game, so congratulations to you if you started Robert Woods. So at number 4, again, back into the main point of the video, DJ Moore of the Carolina Panthers going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Mono Man Sam, Robbie Anderson, both played together for the Jumbo Jets. So going into the season, you're thinking, you know what? they're going to be a nice combo there. Peanut butter and jelly type of combo. But in reality, that doesn't fucking matter at all because it is DJ Moore season. DJ Moore is getting force-fed the ball. DJ Moore looks amazing. And to me, it doesn't matter if Christian McCaffrey plays or not. Now, Christian McCaffrey right now is trending towards doubtful, which means it's not very likely he's going to suit up in this game. But to me, if he's in the game, if he's not in the game, I love DJ Moore. He is just such a key piece for Sam Darnold in this offense. I expect him to have a huge showing up against the Eagles defense. At number 5, we have Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings going up against the Detroit Lions. Now, the Vikings versus the Cleveland Browns last week was a game that a lot of people expected to be high scoring, when in reality, it turned into a snooze fest. It wasn't very interesting at all. But, you know, it is what it is. The Cleveland Browns win. I believe the game was 14-7. This week, I expect a huge bounce back from the Minnesota Vikings offense. They're going up against a garbage-ass Detroit Lions defense, so I expect this to be a very high-scoring game from Justin Jefferson. At number 6, we have F1, Scary Terry McLaurin, wide receiver of the Washington football team, going up against the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints defense is the most confusing defense to read, in my opinion, in the National Football League, meaning that I actually have about zero idea how good they are, because in some games, they look like one of the most elite defenses in the NFL. For instance, in week number 1, up against the Green Bay Packers, they completely shut down Aaron Rodgers. They shut down Aaron Jones. They basically shut down Devonta Adams. Now, he was the only one in that game to have a decent game, but they shut Rodgers down so much that Jordan Love came into the game. But then they go up against the Panthers, and the Panthers and Mono Man Sam Darnold just soak them. And then week number 3, they go up against the Patriots. They look good again. And in week number 4 last week, Danny Dimes was throwing dots all over them. So I have no idea what this Saints defense is going to look like here. Terry McLaurin, as well as Taylor Heineke, have looked really solid thus far this season. I like Terry McLaurin a decent amount, even with the uncertainty on the other side of the ball for the defense they're going up against. At number 7, we have Debo Samuel, wide receiver of the San Francisco 49ers, going up against the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. Now, normally, I am a little bit cautious when it comes to playing a wide receiver in their first game with a brand new quarterback. But Trey Lance has also played so much thus far this season, and he played like half of that game last week up against Seattle to where I'm confident in enough in how good of a player Trey Lance is. Now, it is entirely possible this is the one kind of risky play with Debo Samuel, is that maybe Kyle Shanahan kind of reinstalls this offense to be more in favor of Trey Lance's play style. Like Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously, he's not a quarterback that's going to go out there and fucking stiff arm someone, do some type of spin move, run his way into the end zone like Kyler Murray, like Lamar Jackson, something that Trey Lance can do. So maybe Kyle Shanahan kind of shifts the offense a little bit into kind of a more power run-heavy type of scheme. Now, is that 100% going to happen? I am not sure. I don't think that's 100% to happen, but it could. But either way, Debo Samuel is the clear number 1 wide receiver in San Francisco. Brandon Ayuk, he escapes the doghouse. He breaks free. He's soaring. He's flying like he's in High School Musical, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because Debo Samuel is still the guy. Brandon Ayuk, while escaping the doghouse, clearly is not the guy there, and George Kittle is doubtful. So if George Kittle misses, even more volume is going to go the way of Debo Samuel and what could be a very high-scoring matchup between the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. At number 8, we have CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys, going up against the New York Football Giants. Now, I understand that CeeDee Lamb burned a bunch of people last week, but at the end of the day, he's still CeeDee Lamb. He's still a wide receiver on one of the best offenses in the NFL in the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this game could honestly go either way up against the Giants. The Giants last week showed so much fight, and they got their first W of the year going up against the New Orleans Saints. They ate that W on Jameis Winston. But at the same time, you could also see this game going the complete opposite, where Daniel Jones does Daniel Jones things, where he's fumbling the football, where he's throwing picks, where he's basically just a turnover fucking machine. But it could also be the Daniel Jones of last week who looked really good. So that's the interesting part of this game. How high scoring will this be? How back and forth will it be? I believe Daniel Jones does look solid in this matchup, and I think that will lead to CeeDee Lamb and this Dallas Cowboys offense being much more pass heavy, which will help out CeeDee Lamb a ton. I understand he disappointed last week, but I think he bounces back this week up against the Giants. At number 9, we have Keenan Allen of the LA Chargers going up against the Cleveland Browns. Now, last week, the LA Chargers blew the back out of the Las Vegas Raiders on that Monday Night Football game. Somehow, I still do not understand how the fuck there was a thunderstorm rain delay at a game where there is a literal dome on top of it. Now, maybe that's not considered a dome because it's like a glass ceiling, but still, to me, that's a dome game. How is there a thunder delay? I don't understand that. Any of you guys that are some type of fucking weather scientist or someone who can explain to me why that happens or why that happened, let me know down below in the comments. That didn't make too much sense. It was Mike Williams' birthday. And on his birthday, this man has birthday sex, but it's not with his girlfriend, his wife, with whoever he is with. It is with your fantasy team's asshole because he absolutely pounded us out after having all these big games. Everyone believes in Mike Williams. Hoorah! It's Mike Williams week, baby. It's on his fucking birthday. He is going to destroy the Las Vegas Raiders defense, and he screwed us over. He's still going to be in these rankings. I still like him. Keenan Allen looked pretty solid, but the true winner of that game on Monday Night Football, it was the tight ends. It was Jared Cook and Donald Parham, and it was Mr. Austin Eckler. Now, Keenan Allen didn't have a disappointing game, but he didn't have as big of a game as I personally believed he could have had. But this week, up against the Cleveland Browns, I like him at wide receiver number 9. At number 10, we have Amari Cooper, wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys, going up against the New York Football Giants. Now, again, same argument can be made with Amari Cooper as it was with CeeDee Lamb. Again, who really knows how this NFC East battle is going to go? But if it does trend towards Daniel Jones actually playing quite well, then Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb could really light it up in this game. Amari Cooper has been dealing with an injury, but it doesn't really seem to be kind of affecting him at all. He played quite well last week. CeeDee Lamb had the down game. Either week, it could flip, and either week, both of these guys could be the number 1 and number 2 wide receivers on the week, especially if the Cowboys are able to throw a lot and they're not relying as much on Ezekiel Elliott. Last week was Dalton Schultz week as well, which obviously sucks if you have either Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb, but again, I expect things to be back to normal this week and Lamb and Cooper to have a great game. But before we get on into wide receivers 11 through 20, I would like to ask if you guys have ended up enjoying thus far through the top 10 wide receivers. Please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below, as well as hitting that like button. I would appreciate it a ton. Thank you guys very much for doing that. At wide receivers 11 through 20, we begin with DeAndre Hopkins of the Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers. Now, D-Hop has played not so hot recently, right? He hasn't been a complete bust for your team, but he just hasn't been performing up to the normal DeAndre Hopkins standards. But it could be because he was banged up a couple of weeks ago, and that was continuing to kind of hamper his play. This week up against the San Francisco 49ers, in what could be a high-scoring game, at least for the Arizona Cardinals, just like it was last week up against the LA Rams defense, I believe DeAndre Hopkins could have a field day in this game. He is wide receiver number 11. He falls outside the top 10 because, again, he hasn't been playing so hot recently, but he's still DeAndre Hopkins. He's still on the best team right now in the National Football League. They should be able to get it done up against the Niners. At number 12 and 13, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receivers, Chris Godwin going up against the Miami Dolphins, and Mike Evans, you guessed it, going up against the Miami Dolphins. Now, every single week between this grouping of Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, as well as Antonio Brown, typically every week, one of these guys is the odd man out. But Rob Gronkowski is out in this game, which means that maybe none of them will be the odd man out. Now, they are going up against the Miami Dolphins defense, who on paper is very good. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, so I want to tell you exactly what is going to happen in this game based upon what I've seen every week of the season besides in week number 1. Now, week number 1, when Tua is healthy, this is a very close game up against the Patriots. The Dolphins defense is locking down the Patriots offense. They're the reason why the Dolphins won that game. The Dolphins defense was unreal. Tua played all right, and they win the game. In week number 2, Tua gets hurt right at the beginning of the game. Jacoby comes in. They can't put any points on the board. They're not doing anything. So in the second half, they're down by a bunch, and the Dolphins offense can't score. So the defense just said, you know what, fuck it. This is an off game. We're not going to win. I don't care anymore. I do not care. The Bills pound them, not even softly, pounded us roughly into the night. And then, the next week, we go up against the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Dolphins defense plays all right in that game, but we do get the game to go to overtime, so the defense played all right, okay? But the Raiders offense still looked good. In week number 4, up against the Colts, a game the Dolphins could have easily won, should have easily won. It doesn't matter. They're getting pounded deeply into the night because the offense sucks. And again here, in week number 5, going up against the Bucs offense, I have absolutely zero belief in the Dolphins in this game. I think the Dolphins might lose this game by legitimately 42. I don't know how the fuck Jacoby Brissett is going to do anything in this game. Jacoby Brissett stinks. As a Dolphins fan, I hope that Tua Tagovailoa is back next week so that I can finally put on my jersey and be excited to watch the game. because I fucking go watch the game and I put some Kleenex next to me because I know this is going to be a game where I'm going to cry. Now, in reality, do I cry watching football? No. I don't, but I certainly think about it during the games because the Dolphins ruin every single Sunday. But at the end of the day, guys, I do try to take my fandom out of this. I do completely take my fandom out of it. I'm completely serious when I'm talking about these teams. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, maybe even Antonio Brown have a potential triple Eiffel Tower over the Dolphins defense. This game is going to be a murder at the hands of Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and potentially Antonio Brown. At number 14, we have Deonte Johnson, wide receiver of the Steelers, going up against the Denver Broncos. Now, Big Ben stinks. Big Ben is bad. But that doesn't seem to matter for Deonte Johnson because somehow Deonte Johnson and Big Ben have that connection. Like, you guys remember when Antonio Brown was on the not on the Patriots, obviously he wasn't on the Patriots, but when he was back on the Steelers and they did these like fucking hand signals, like they have this like mental connection with each other, Big Ben and Antonio Brown. I believe that happens with Deonte Johnson and Big Ben. Now again, is Deonte Johnson the same receiver as Antonio Brown was back then in his prime? Of course not. But Deonte Johnson is still the main target on this team, and even if Big Ben sucks complete and utter fucking donkey hog in this game up against the Denver Broncos, Deonte Johnson will still eat. He'll get fed in this game. Deonte Johnson is the volume monster in Pittsburgh. He's going to score points. It doesn't even matter if the Steelers suck in this game. At number 15, we have Mike Williams, wide receiver of the LA Chargers, going up against the Cleveland Browns. Now, a lot of people, they're going to be quick to dismiss Mike Williams this week. They're going to run away. They're going to run away from Mike Williams because you want to know why? Because he screwed people over last week. People expected him to have a big game because he's been on fire and he plays like shit. So this week, people are going to be worried, oh, it's up against the Cleveland Browns defense, man. I don't know if I could start Mike Williams. He burned me last week. Just fire him out there. Just play him. You just have to. There is no way he plays that. I mean, also, you got to look back. You got to fucking hit the rewind button. Look back at the game. And if you guys remember, this man is wide open. This is probably like a deep touchdown, potentially a touchdown. Obviously, the DB could have caught him, but likely a touchdown. And Justin Herbert, the pervert, sails the thing over him. If Justin Herbert hit him there, then it's a completely different game for Mike Williams. So I think Mike Williams bounces back this week. It has a great game up against the Browns. At number 16, we have A.J. Brown, wide receiver of the Tennessee Titans, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. While I believe this is Derrick Henry week, Derrick Henry is going to absolutely devour the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, as he does every single time he's played them in his NFL career. A.J. Brown is returning from injury, so my hope is that he is 100% healthy and is actually good to be out there, and this is not some type of decoy scenario. Julio's out, so A.J. Brown is really the only competent receiver out there. So for that reason alone, he has to be seeing at least a decent amount of volume. Wide receiver number 16. At 17, we have Adam Thielen of the Minnesota Vikings going up against the Detroit Lions. Now, the biggest issue with all of these Vikings wide receivers is that it seems like they really like using KJ Osborne. They like using Tyler Conklin, so it's not really a funnel system to just Adam Thielen and just to Justin Jefferson like you may have kind of thought about in the offseason. But with that said, Adam Thielen is just a touchdown monster. This guy scores touchdowns all the fucking time. Going up against the Lions, that is entirely possible. Wide receiver, number 17. Number 18, we have Jamar Chase, wide receiver of the Bungles, going up against the Green Bay Packers. Now, when it comes to Jamar Chase, he scored a touchdown in week 1. He scored a touchdown in week number 2. I believe this motherfucker scored 2 touchdowns in week number 3. If it wasn't in week number 3, it was in week number 2 where he scored 2 touchdowns. So he has 4 touchdowns on the season. Didn't score up against Urban Meyer and the Jags. Urban Meyer, I don't think he scored at the bar either, but maybe he got close to it. Jamar Chase is a very good, talented player. Higgins is likely to be back this week, which does put a little bit of a damper on the expectation of Chase, but not really. What it really does is kind of throw fucking Tyler Boyd out of the equation. Jamar Chase up against the Packers. Again, I try to paint that picture that, hey, painting that Picasso of, hey, maybe this is a back and forth game, toe-to-toe, Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Burrow. And if that is the case, then Jamar Chase will be the answer for you on Sunday. At number 19, we got Hollywood Brown, wide receiver of the Baltimore Ravens, going up against the Indianapolis Colts. Any game, Hollywood Brown is one of those guys that is also a complete and utter game breaker. Because this motherfucker, all he needs is literally 2 catches, and he could have 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's just how it works. It could also be a game where maybe he's not targeted at all. But at the end of the day, his involvement on this team is so much higher week in and week out than it was last year and in years past for Hollywood Brown. Because in years past, you'd start Hollywood Brown, he has this one explosive game, and the next couple of weeks, this motherfucker he's snoozing in your lineup. He is in deep sleep, but more recently this year, he's been wide awake every single game. Now, he did have that one game up against the Lions where he dropped 2 easy touchdowns. Like, I'm not even talking where, like, he had to, like, dive to make the catch and, like, oh, he missed it, kind of like Lockett on Sunday or on Thursday night. But no, this was like the ball is right in the fucking breadbasket and he misses it. And obviously, he bounced back after that, and I believe he's going to bounce back, or not even need to bounce back. He's just going to play great again up against the Colts. At number 20, we have AB, wide receiver of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going up against the Miami Dolphins. Again, this might be a triple attack, a triple dash on the asshole of the Miami Dolphins defense. Again, typically there's the one odd man out in this offense. Which one will it be, though? Very hard to predict. I expect AB to have a good game. Oh, man, what if Xavier Howard shadows him? What if Byron Jones shadows him? It doesn't matter because, again, the Dolphins defense just gives up in the second half after we are getting pounded in by the Bucs offense. Next up, we got wide receivers 21 through 30. Again, if you have ended up enjoying thus far, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as that like button and follow me on Twitter at NotoriousFNTSY. At number 21, we have Corey Davis, wide receiver of the New York Football Jets at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I had immense struggle here ranking Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder and which one to put ahead of the other one. Because I think Jamison Crowder is going to see more targets, but I think Corey Davis has more upside to get more yards and potentially more touchdowns. This is a game in London, England, baby. The New York, I think that was a bad English accent, but it is what it is. Corey Davis against Atlanta. It's at Atlanta, but in reality, it's in London. It's at 9 in the morning. Who's going to wake up and watch this? The answer is absolutely fucking no one, except for me, baby. I'm going to be fired up for the Monday, or the early morning Sunday game. Even though I hate the Jets, I'm a Dolphins fan. I live in New Jersey. I hate the Jets. I don't care about the Falcons, but I love football, so I'm going to be up bright and early. And maybe I'll be live streaming before the game. I don't know, though, guys. Normally, I don't wake up that early. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am a college student. I make videos on the internet. It's 1 a.m. when I'm recording this video. That's just how it be. I'm not going to be up typically at 8 in the morning, but maybe I'll wake up to record and live stream for you guys because I love you guys. So thank you guys all so much for the support recently, but I don't want to like kind of divvy off onto a tangent because not everyone's here to fucking listen about my life story. They're here to learn about some football, and I'm here to talk about football. So Corey Davis smashed last week up against the Titans because Jamison Crowder being integrated into this offense, they're like the yin and yang. They're that type of a combo together. Corey Davis looked better because of Crowder being out there. This Atlanta Falcons defense is arguably very bad. Not even arguably, they are definitely very bad. So Corey Davis should have a field day, as should Jamison Crowder. Corey Davis, wide receiver 21 at 22. We got Higgins of the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Green Bay Packers. I like Higgins. I like Jamar Chase. You can really have an argument that any given week, either of these guys could be the number one in targets on the team. Now, Tyler Boyd, he's a very talented player. Mr. TB, as Joe Burrow calls him in the mic'd up that I watched earlier. He's a good player, but he's kind of the odd man out in a lot of games. Now, there will be games where Boyd just slaps the shit out of his defense, right? He outscores Higgins. He outscores Jamar Chase as well in the exact same game when they're all playing, and that's okay. That's going to happen. But at the end of the day, I heavily rely on T. Higgins every single week, and I think if this is a back and forth game, as I expect it to be, then the Green Bay, or up against the Green Bay Packers, then T. Higgins will be an excellent start. At number 23, we have Jacoby Myers of the New England Patriots going up against the Houston Texans in Houston. Now, I've talked about this ad nauseum for the last couple of days that I genuinely believe that the Patriots versus the Texans, that it's going to be a bloodbath, but I don't think there's going to be some Mac Jones fucking tearing it up through the air, 4 tugs, hang it on your head, the Houston Texans. They absolutely demolish them by a Mac Jones pass-heavy attack. I don't think so. Bill Belichick up against the Jets does a similar thing similar to what I believe is going to happen, where they're winning the game, they're just running the ball. Just run the ball. Just do these short passes. Don't let Mac Jones do something fucking stupid. Don't turn the ball over. Win the game. Eat the W. It is what it is. That's how you win the game, and that's okay. And that is entirely possible to be what is happening on Sunday in this game. But even if that is the case, Jacoby Myers is still the number 1 receiver on the team, so he's going to get a bunch of targets and potentially find his way into the end zone, which he has not done this season. The Texans' defense is Swiss cheese, so I expect Jacoby Myers to have a great game of 24. Again, Jamison Crowder of the Jets going up against the Falcons in London. Talked about it already with Corey Davis. I like Jamison Crowder. He'll probably out-receive Corey Davis in the receptions, but I think Corey Davis has the better likelihood to score the touchdown and get more yards. That's just kind of how things go in New York for the Jets. I thought Jamison Crowder was going to be a complete and utter wash, right? Because no longer is Mono Man Sam there. No longer is it the Adam Gase game plan to just give this guy 7,000 targets. But it appears that Mr. Saleh is learning a bit from Adam Gase, right? That's maybe not the smartest thing to do, but in this case it is, because Jamison Crowder is a key piece in this offense, and Zach Wilson should have an excellent game here up against the Falcons. Moving to wide receiver 25, we've got Marvin Jones of the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Tennessee Titans. Now, the biggest question here is, how in the game is Urban Meyer? Like, is he going to be able to coach through all of this shit that's going on, all the outside noise that he caused? He caused it, but the outside noise, is he going to be able to kind of fight through that? Or is this going to be just a bad news Bears game? They get bent over by 70 by the Titans. I'm not sure. DJ Chark is out for the rest of the season, I believe. And obviously he's out this game. Marvin Jones is the number 1. They also have Latavius Murray, who Urban Meyer kind of actually correctly put the pieces together, put all the puzzle pieces together for it to actually work for Laviska Shenault in this offense. So great for him. But Marvin Jones is still the guy there up against a bad Titans defense. Could be a great game. At 26, we got Devonta Smith, or not a great game like overall the Jags versus the Titans, but a great game for Marvin Jones. Number 26, we have Devonta Smith, wide receiver of the Philadelphia Eagles, going up against the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. The Panthers defense is legit. Too legit to quit. Shout out to MC Hammer. Devonta Smith looks pretty solid. Looks like he's the clear number 1 wideout there in Philadelphia. While I'm not the biggest believer in Jalen Hurts, I'm far from it. He always seems to get it done for fantasy. He seems to get it done every Sunday. He likes throwing the ball to Devonta Smith, so buy into him here. Wide receiver 26, 27. We got Jalen Waddle away. Waddle. Till the very next day. Bump. Wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, I believe that the Dolphins are going to get absolutely fucked in the ass relentlessly by Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, fucking Uncle Lenny Fournette. Get a little bit incestual there with Uncle Lenny going to town on the Dolphins defense. Again, the thing with Waddle is he's just such a target monster. He eats those targets for fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and he has dessert with them too. Jacoby Myers, similar thing. Similar situation. Jalen Waddle. If Jacoby Myers could just figure out that, or not Jacoby Myers, if Jacoby Brisket, quarterback of the Dolphins, just figured out maybe, hey, let's throw it a little bit further to fucking Jalen Waddle. Let's not just throw it 4 fucking feet away from me. Then Jalen Waddle will have a lot more value because he gets all the targets. He just ain't getting very many yards. At 28, we have Kenny G Spot, Kenny Bones, Kenny Galladay, wide receiver of the New York Football Giants, going up against the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World. Kenny Galladay looked very good last week for the first time in forever. Like fucking Elsa from Frozen, baby. So Kenny Galladay had a great game last week. Will he be able to replicate? Will he be able to do it again? Now, Darius Slayton, he's not in. No. Guess who else is not in? Sterling Shepard. So it's really just going to be Kenny Galladay season out there. The question is, can he break free from Trayvon Diggs? I think so, because last week everyone's like, "Oh man, Nickelodeon, Nick, why are you so heavy on DJ Moore? You know Diggs is gonna guard him, right? You know Diggs is gonna shadow him. He's fucked in this game." My fucking elf voice just turned into Conor McGregor. Oh, he's fucked. So yeah, that's what people were thinking, and then he just shadows Robbie Anderson. So maybe he'll be on fucking John Ross, the Sauce Boss, and Kenny Galladay has a great game. Again, little bit scary on Galladay. That's why he's 28, but he could have the potential to be a top 12 guy. Number 29, we have Brandon Cooks of the Houston Texans going up against the New England Patriots. Now, I know how good Brandon Cooks is, but he has to fall down the rankings because Davis Mills legitimately sucks so bad at playing quarterback in the National Football League. He's so bad. He is so bad. Brandon Cooks needs Tyrod Taylor to come back to help him. Now, Cooks will still be fine. He'll be getting the targets, but can he even get into the end zone up against the Patriots? I'm not sure. Number 30, we got Cortland Sutton of the Denver Broncos at the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Drew Lock is playing, dribble it around, behind the back, through the legs. Harlem Globetrotters, take that shit, throw it out the window if Horsecock Drew Lock is the quarterback, because I just don't think you can trust Sutton with Lock. But if Teddy Two Gloves ends up playing, then you're firing up Mr. Cortland Sutton. Wide receiver 30, though, this is a tough matchup up against the Steelers. Final wideouts of the video, number 31 and 32. Number 31, we got Laviska Shenault of the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Tennessee Titans. Now, again, I just talked about it a little bit. They kind of put the puzzle pieces all together for Laviska Shenault. Will that work this week, though, with Urban Meyer being a little bit off his game? I don't know. But again, the value is there, as he is now the clear wide receiver 2 with DJ Chark out, and they actually figured out how to use him last week up against the Bengals at 32. We have Devontae Parker of the Miami Dolphins going up against the Bucs. The Bucs defense is down tremendous right now with injuries to the kind of passing defense, to defending the pass. Devontae Parker, while he's not the greatest player on the earth, as a Dolphins fan, I know that. I know he's not that good. He does get a lot of targets. And targets equivalent to fantasy points, as long as you catch them, of course. And if you score a touchdown, shout out to Devontae Parker, scoring his first tug of the season last week, making a miraculous catch. You love to see that. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that like button as well. I love you guys all so much. I do hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, goodbye.